I should really start calling these what I created this week because this one is loaded. So unfortunately, due to my school, I wasn't able to post a video last week, and because of that, I have a ton of content to share with you guys. So we're just gonna get right to it because I don't want this to be a super long video. Alright, so I started off this week in ceramics because the week before I had such a busy week in darkroom, and it's nice to just take a break and switch gears and kind of like go back to something that's like more calming to me, because even though I love darkroom, it can be really stressful because I'm like super picky. Unlike with ceramics, which yes, I am picky, but it's like more relaxing because it's not like as high pressure for me. So I decided to make some more of the trays that I've made before. The ones that I make in this style, just I texture them with tree bark, and then I'm going to raku fire them. I made a total of 7 more trays, and I'd already made one earlier in the week, so I have 8 of those, and they were fired this week. This coming up week, I'll be able to raku fire those, and I'm sure I will definitely share that with you guys. The day after I made those trays, I made porcelain clay with one of my classmates. I really like throwing with porcelain because it has like this elasticity to it, and so it doesn't easily like rip off of the wheel, and if you kind of like mess up a form when you're throwing, then you can just like easily move it back into place. The only downside to throwing with porcelain is that it retains a lot of water, so it'll like absorb the water really quickly and dry out fast, so you have to constantly be putting water on it, but you can't put too much water on it because then it'll start to collapse and become really like thinned out. But I really like the way that it feels, and it's super smooth, and it's really like clean and pure after it's been fired. So making clay is actually really easy. All you have to do is measure out all these substances, different sands, and you have to wear a face mask because some of them are toxic. When you're like pouring these substances into this huge bowl, all of the dust goes like up in your face, and you really don't want to be breathing those in. My favorite part about making clay is mixing the substances together because you mix it with your hands in this bowl, and it's like super airy. It feels like quicksand. To mix clay, it usually takes an hour and a half to about 2 hours. So my classmate and I actually put it through the pugger, and my professor told me the next day that we probably shouldn't have done that because it kind of like mixed it with this red clay that was already in the pugger, and so our porcelain might be like a little bit pink tinted. Later in the week, I helped my class load the kilns and unload them. We filled a total of 3 kilns, and loading kilns is super stressful because it's like high stakes Tetris, and you're trying to fit in all these pieces in different ways, and they have to go like on these shelves, and so you have to do certain sizes in certain places, and it's really stressful because you're handling other people's pieces and you don't want to be responsible for like breaking off a handle or breaking off something that was too thin. These are my trays at the very bottom of the kiln. Alright, so switching gears, in my alternative photography class, we finally started to create some work. The processes that we did this week were cyanotype and Van Dyke. So these are like some of the original processes that were made to use images. The way that these are made is that you have a negative, and we would upload our images to Photoshop and then change them to a digital negative and print them out on this transparency paper. So then you take this wooden frame and you place a negative in it, and then you can take literally basically anything, and then you coat it with this chemical that makes the surface of whatever you have chosen light sensitive, and what you do is you take it out and expose it to the sun. It's only really affected by UV rays. You can either take it out into the sun, or we have this like UV box that just has like those things that you like stick your nails in, but it's like a huge one, and you put your wooden frame in that. The different processes take different amounts of time. Like cyanotype is a bit longer, so it takes 10 to 15 minutes or more, maybe 30, depending on what your negative looks like, while Van Dyke's these take about like 5 to 10 minutes depending on your negative. So my best friend Serena got to do one on a coffee filter. After you've exposed it to the sun, you take it up into the lab and then you wash it off with water for a few minutes to make sure that all of that light sensitivity chemical is washed out of it. And then for cyanotypes, you take it and you put it in this tray of hydrogen peroxide, and then that intensifies the blue color and really makes it contrast and bring out your image. And you do the same thing for Van Dyke, except you don't dip it in hydrogen peroxide, you just dip it in this fixer solution. So this is my cyanotype. I actually really like how it turned out. It looks pretty cool to me, and this actually needed a little bit more exposure because this picture was taken at night. It's cool to see it different than just a black and white print, and I really like the messiness of it because it just gives it this different like spooky feel. But these are what the negatives look like. There's certain filters that you can download into Photoshop that apply accordingly to Van Dyke or cyanotype. It's really just like personal preference, but you color them either green or blue. There's something about the process that this helps. I haven't really tested it out to see like what of a difference it makes for them, but I'm sure that I will figure that out through the semester. But I'm definitely excited to experiment with that more. I'm sure there's a lot of things that I will push and see just how like far I can experiment, and I'm gonna try to combine ceramics into alternative photography. So another thing that I created this week that I don't have videos or images of because I'm kind of keeping it on the low key until it is fully complete and installed, but I got accepted into the exhibition that I was applying for. I feel super thankful because there were like 161 contestants to be chosen to have their pieces shown in a gallery, and only 30 were chosen, and somehow I was one of them. And this is actually going to be my first show, which is definitely my fault. I've never really felt that I have a body of work that I really wanted to show. Not that I wasn't proud of my work, but it wasn't true to myself. And now that I'm working in darkroom again and I have a project that like means something to me, I finally like wanted to put it out there, and I'm very glad I did. And this is the first exhibition that I've entered, and it's the first one I've been accepted into. So I mean, lucky, maybe, talent, you know, whatever. I'm very glad that I'm getting this opportunity, but it has definitely burned a hole in my wallet because I had to buy frames, and frames are really expensive, and I also had to print out my pieces and get those pieces mounted. So hopefully the payoff is very great. I know it will be. I definitely need experience in this because I want to do this more often and do it bigger and better. Today I worked on framing them and my professor helped me, and oh my gosh, that was the most stressful and draining experience. Framing photos is so hard. It is definitely harder than you think. But anyway, for the first one there was just a lot of like little things that we had to sort out and like figure out about it, and the second one went smoother, except I freaking scratched the acrylic glass. So tomorrow I have to go and purchase a new one and hope that I don't scratch it again. You have to be super like meticulous and detailed, and it takes forever to get the dust out. And so you're like wiping the inside of the glass, wiping the print, and then you put it in, and then you see like one speck and you're like, crap, I gotta get that out. So you open it back up and you wipe that, and then you close it, and then when you opened that, another piece of dust came in. So it's just like, it usually takes like 30 minutes. So life of an artist, like that's what I have to do. Anyway, so I drop off those pieces this coming Saturday, and the Saturday after that will be the actual exhibition opening ceremony, and it's all happening very fast and it's very exciting, and I will keep you guys updated. I'll probably show like a little clip or two of me like in the exhibition being all like excited and a dork because my work is finally getting shown. It's like I'm a real artist or something. I want to talk for a quick second about an artist talk that I went to last night. I went and listened to a lecture by Teresa Hubbard and Alexander Birchler. They are two collaborative artists artists that have been working together 20 or 30 so years, and they do these short films, but they call them like long photographs. I saw one of their installations in Austin, and everyone that I was at the exhibit with, it kind of like took by surprise, because you're sitting there and you're just like, okay, like, what does this mean? Is this going anywhere? Because it doesn't have like a huge plot. And then next thing you know, you've sat through the whole video, which is like 30 minutes long, and it just loops like a continuous loop. But it was really cool to hear from them and hear the backgrounds of their installations, because they actually do like so much research and have history behind it. And there's just these cool little coincidences and stories behind the work that they're creating. And it was definitely inspirational to me. I got some good tips, and I said hi to them afterwards and everything. But I absolutely love going to artist talks, because there's like little bits of inspiration in every single one. I've seen a lot. I've seen at least like 1 or 2 a week, if not more. If you are an artist, I would definitely suggest going to artist talk. I find it really encouraging, because like when I went to the Misty Kiesler one, she uses film, which, you know, I use film too, and so she was discussing that, and she just goes, yeah, my average exposure time is just about like 30 minutes, and everyone in the auditorium just like gasped. And I'm like, that's me. It gives me hope that someday I will be able to make people gasp at the fact that I spend so much time taking one picture. And it just really shows that like it is possible to make it and be successful as an artist, and it is hard, and they discuss that it is hard. And so you see that they are like real people too, and starting by making crappy work like every established artist. I'm gonna end the video there, though. I don't want to drone on forever and ever about being an artist and blah blah blah. I will save that for more videos later on. Stay tuned for more videos. I've been trying to post every Wednesday and Sunday, but I have been pretty busy. Subscribe so you can be notified when I can talk at your face, and like this video if you like what you saw. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see, and just remember to stay reckless, and Winston and I will see you next time.